Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Cakecore Podcast, episode 4.
Oh, thank you.
And you're very welcome, Spods. It's my honor to welcome Spods to the podcast. After special guest appearances from episode 3 and episode 1. Were you in episode 1 at all?
Did he not go
You
to
think I
Burger
know
King in one
these
of the
episodes?
podcasts?
No, so he was in episode 1 officially, but then he had to go to Target at some point. And so he's our man on the street, you know. Whenever we need him to report live, we send him out.
I'm on the scene.
Yeah, and he also joined us from a cooler, I think, at one point in the Star Wars podcast. But yeah, so welcome guys to Cakecore. We got a special guest with us today. We got Zenger joining us today. Zenger, you can introduce yourself if you'd like to.
That's okay. Hello.
Okay.
I'm Zenger.
So Zenger, he's been around the channel a little bit. He's part of the Flatlands series, and then he's also been on the Cakecore SMP, and then of course he came to the marathon in person, as well as James and Douglas 3D spotters, Owlton, and myself. And that's kind of our focus of today. You see, today is actually a very special day. The day you are watching this is actually going to be the 1-year anniversary of the Cakecore relaunch, and which means we've basically been uploading group content for like about a year now, aside from 1 or 2 months. And basically, we thought it would be a good opportunity to not only catch up on some of the marathon details, because we also had a marathon. That's crazy. And we thought it'd be cool to talk about it, but also just kind of talk about the channel as a whole over the last year. So that's basically what we're doing today. Unfortunately, Danny, Bombastic, and Dancer could not make it today, but they are here in spirit, and I'm sure they will watch every second of this podcast. So make sure you guys be extra nice, right?
They
Right.
I
I definitely knew that we were going to be talking about that when I joined this call.
Yes.
Let's only talk about the people that are not here.
Yes, yeah.
Right.
I think the only way we can cope with this is to talk about them more, to make it feel like they are here. So first of all, I hate those guys. And that just so that's out.
I wasn't gonna join this podcast, and then I saw that neither D-Bird, Danny, nor Seth were here, so I hopped right in.
Yeah, and they were like, "Oh, a perfect free real estate. Here we go. Finally, some breath away from Bombastic." You realize how often I talk to Bombastic? Like, I need a break sometimes,
Dude,
you know?
all time every day.
Oh, all time, every day.
Yeah, I quite like Bombastic, but not the other two. The other two are. I'm glad they're not.
Oh, okay, so we're picking favorites now. So James picked Bombastic. Someone else has to pick Danny, then someone has to pick Dancer. I vote Danny. I vote Danny. There's only one left, and
I vote
there's 3
Caleb.
of you guys.
Wait, I wasn't on the list. I'm the one picking
sorry,
people.
Caleb. I forgot to mention you're getting booted off the podcast. It's per
shoot.
Spot's request.
If you have a hidden immunity idol, now would be the time to play it.
Yes, of course.
Okay.
Oh wait, no, get me out of here.
So he's got no immunity.
I'd just like to say that it's been like 2 months since the marathon, and I've already forgotten pretty much everything that happened.
Now, so here's the deal.
That's the way we like it.
I started kind of forgetting a lot of the stuff too, but then I started jogging my memory because James and I have been editing the VODs of the marathon, and we actually have a place for that now, which is kind of an announcement we wanted to make during the podcast. Right now, you can head over to the Cakecore Marathon VODs channel, which there will be a link in the description to. And not only will we be uploading the Marathon 2020 VODs up there, we're going to be doing it periodically because we want to get them in the right order so that it's cleaner later when we check it out. But also, all of 2019's marathons are uploaded. The VODs of that is uploaded there as well. And that's the first time those have been on YouTube, because those were streamed on Twitch, and then we never cut it up into pieces until now. So this will basically be a hub for all future marathons as well. So if you ever just want to find specific parts of the marathon, you can do that without having to look through an entire 24-hour stream or 18-hour stream, depending on which marathon it is. And also, of course, if you ever want to watch the first marathon's VODs, that's on our Cakecore channel, but we'll be leaving a playlist on the VODs channel, so you can find everything there, regardless of where it's uploaded. So that's happening right now. If you'd like to subscribe, you can. If not, that's totally fine. It's mainly just there so that you can easily access it when you want to. That's the only thing we're going to be uploading on it, so there's not much reason to subscribe, but you can still search for things in the search bar because of it, and it should be helpful in the long run. So that's coming out today. 2020's first episode, the introduction, would be coming out. It's already out right now. So after this podcast, if you'd like to relive some of those moments, then you definitely can head over there and relive. So, but when we're editing those VODs, it did kind of bring back a lot of memories. And it's always so crazy after a marathon because living it is different than watching it. And after you live it, and then you go watch it, it's just like you don't take your time to fully acknowledge everything that's happening, you know, when you're actually in it. And I'm always just like amazed when I rewatch it, like, oh my gosh, we actually did that. We like, look at all these guys having fun. Like that's crazy. And just seeing like
all of those guys having fun.
Like watching the UHCs and all those people who participate in the public round, and like it's just crazy to see like, wow, those were actually good games. Like that's another, because I guess it's just when you're behind the scenes, you worry so little about that stuff, like whether or not like it's even good content, I guess. Like you want it to be good content, but there's other priorities at first. So you're thinking about the donations or whatnot, and you're trying to get the good content. But when you rewatch it again, you're like, this was actually produced very well. It's always crazy to me just rewatching that, because like, I don't know, it's Ultra Cakecore specifically. It's like, wow, there was an Alton boss fight spawned in that game, and that's just that idea alone. Like all marathon aside, like that's all like cool stuff to happen. And I don't know, it's just always looking at it from the viewer's perspective it's just a completely different trip than actually like living it and whatnot. So what's that?
No, sorry. I was going to say, looking back on it, thinking about the amount of work that you must have done, and I guess everyone else to an extent. That really hit home, was the amount of, like, logistically, the amount of work you had to do.
Well,
to produce all that, because it was 24 hours. It was a long time.
Yeah,
and that's
yeah. And Pat had been producing that for months before then too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was hard to even talk to Pat months before without him bringing up the marathon. I was constant.
Pat,
I mean, because
where are you?
Remember how many times I would like just join your CS:GO call for a little bit and be like, guys, look, I need your guys' input on this or the whole Cakecore tournament. Like we had to prep that months in advance and like trying to build up those ideas or whatnot. And that's the part that you think about when you're living it. You think about the production side. You think about getting it actually running. But when you take a step back and you're like, wow, we held a tournament with all these different games, and it happened. You know what I mean? Like it's just interesting seeing things come from an idea and then actually seeing it happen, because you don't see it happen until you take that retrospect. And that's always just a fun part about the marathons. Once it's over, you get to rewatch it and you're like, wow, it was a good time. It was pretty, especially this time, because we had so many guests, like crazy surreal.
It was really like crazy seeing everybody in person.
And you know, when I'm sitting there with like Danny, James the Douglas, Zenger, and Spotters talking about how to set something up or like what we're doing next or whatnot, all I'm thinking about is what we're doing next. You don't even sit to acknowledge that like you're sitting with James the Douglas, 3D Spotters,
wow,
Danny, and Zenger.
Yeah, it's odd how normal it seemed at one point. Like
because we had our priorities.
It genuinely did feel.
When we all met each other, I think I was actually in a call with you, Pat, the day after you had your lunch with Zenger and James, and I was trying to figure out like, oh, what is James all like, in the person, and while you didn't give away that information, thank God you didn't. One thing you did say that I actually experienced myself is like when you see someone that you've met online for such a long time in person for the first time, there's that, because you don't know what they look like, there's that weird, or sometimes you don't know what they look like, but you haven't been in the same area together. So you have that weird feeling of like, I don't know this person. Yeah. So you kind of go into
first encounter mode.
Your first encounter mode, very diplomatic, very polite, and then they bring out the inside jokes, and then it all floods it back, and then you're that guy.
It was very weird for me, because when James and I first met, obviously we'd known each other for like 5 years,
right?
So we met at the airport, and then we had to drive back to my place, and it was like a 2-hour drive. So for me, I wasn't really looking at his face the whole time we were talking that way.
So it was basically just on a regular Discord call.
Yeah, you were just on a Discord call, and then occasionally I could look over and be like, huh.
Yeah. Who is this right next to me? Hold on, James. Someone's right next to me. I gotta go.
Why does he sound like James?
Yeah.
I guess that particular part was different for me, because I was in a different country for the first time. So that added, experience.
Oh, every person you saw was a new person.
A lot. Well, exactly. Yeah, everything that was going on was different. Yeah. So yeah,
I think like it definitely, the years of talking to people online that catches up, and that ends up like normalizing it. But it's just for me, like the facial recognition thing, when you first recognize someone, I immediately start going into my like almost like customer mode. Like back when I was working in a store, I this is how I would, treat customers and stuff like that. And it's just basically like meeting someone for the first time is what your head wants to do, but it's unnecessary because it's like, oh, well, I already like know this guy. And of course it does normalize after a while, but once we're actually doing the marathon though, once we're all in the marathon house and we're like setting things up, like then it's no question that everybody's here. The question is like, okay, we got to get this done. Like that's what we're doing. And but rewatching, it's always just surreal seeing everybody that in the introduction, like watching back that introduction, how many people we had in that room. It never feels like that many people, because we all talk to each other so often. And on Discord calls, we don't fully understand that like, wow, 6 people or 8 people in this sense takes up a lot of space. And even though we go on Counter-Strike and play 6-player CSGO, when you actually, or 5-player CSGO, when you actually see 5 people doing a CSGO LAN party, it just feels completely different. It's like it's a surreal experience.
And it works completely different too.
Oh yeah, it's way laggier, that's for sure.
And it lags completely different.
Oh, it's bad.
It's bad.
Oh, it's terrible.
Rewatching that the CSGO LAN vlog when that came out, I was like, that actually happened. I was there for that. Are you kidding me? And I was like, I'm not even in the video. Like, I'm off to the side. Why wasn't I more like focused? I should have been like eating popcorn watching this. And then but like, it's just pretty, it's surreal basically, like seeing the later stuff.
It was a good moment to capture because I knew like you guys, that's what you do a lot. Your thing is CSGO at night or whatever. But as you say, to see that in live, you were all you were in the same room apart from Dan, Deber, but he was close by. That was just, I knew it was like very special.
Yeah, I'm glad you captured that too. And it's always hard to like acknowledge something is special while it's happening, like just in life in general, it's sometimes difficult to like fully appreciate what's happening in the moment. And to go even a step further to document it so that you can see it later, that's even more difficult because you want to live this special moment without acknowledging that special, without documenting it because it's special, which is why I'm very glad that we filmed as much as we did. And we do have the behind the scenes vlog that'll be coming out. I can't wait to see some of that kind of stuff. And but even just the marathon, like we're fortunate in the event that we had a 24-hour party, but we had the whole thing documented so we can rewatch it. We can like relive it by, watching it again. Not everybody's able to do that. When groups of friends get together, it's usually like you get together, if it only happens once every once in a while, you see them for a little bit and then it's over. And then you just have those memories of like those times. We actually get to rewatch it and like relive it, like even if you just look at it all marathon stuff aside, we had a pretty awesome time together and we were able to document the whole thing. And then it's up, it's up on YouTube, like on the most public website in the world. We can go watch it anytime we want and stuff. And it's just it's like you don't not everyone's fortunate with those kind of events. You know what I mean? Like how many,
or not everyone's, we prioritize it, to be fair.
Right.
So I think that's
right.
Well, that's one of the good things with this sort of a setup is our priority. Even before we did the marathon, our priority was always recording, making content and that. So we're in the know.
Yeah.
We've got the capabilities, I guess.
Yeah.
Which adds to it.
Well, and marathons have taught me a whole lot about general like production and whatnot. And one thing that's interesting is that there will be things in the marathon that will take a long time to set up. And those are the things you start thinking about. You start thinking about like how long it takes to actually get some of this stuff running. But if you ever look at some of the simpler stuff that you're doing instantly, you're like, wow, if I try to do some of this like simpler stuff instantly, like it would have taken me like hours to do. And that's kind of something that dawned on me even just by, like I mentioned earlier briefly, Caleb and I have been doing movie nights and just setting up like a share screen with the right microphone setup and whatnot. And that's so simple to us now. It's something that's like so easy. But when we were talking earlier, we brought up Zoom meetings earlier and how like those are very accessible to new people. Like to figure that kind of stuff out without all this prior knowledge can be very taxing. And I don't know. It's just crazy to see that like our problems are so different than what our problems used to be with returns in terms of production specifically. I mean, Caleb, during our first commentary videos, we had a handheld microphone that I had to hold in the middle, and that you and Seth would sit next to me.
In between a paper towel.
In between a paper towel roll, yeah.
Like on your armpit or something.
Yeah, well, to stop vibrations, right? Because we didn't have a stand for it. And the whole reason we were doing commentary videos is because we couldn't record Minecraft without a lot of frames, so we had to speed the video up so that it looked like the frame rate was better than it was. So, and that,
forgot about that.
It's just like how long it would take us to set up like those commentary videos. Like, you know, now it's like we could do that. We wouldn't do it instantly, but we could do it instantly. And it's just interesting seeing how like the marathon just keeps pushing that production line further and further, and doing the marathon the way we did the 2018 one now sounds like a breeze. Like if we were just to redo the 2018 one, like, oh, piece of cake, that'd be no problem. I mean, that we set up a table, camera, like we're like, that's good. But yeah, basically, that was a long tangent, but from the production side, you know what I mean? When you produce a lot of like stuff, it just starts to stick with you. These little like pieces or whatnot, and technical headaches and whatnot, they change over the years. A technical headache is something totally different now than what it used to be, and it's hard to really see how lucky you are that like you can get through the minor gaps of production so easily now, as before they would be big gaps or whatnot. Basically, I don't know. It comes from appreciation, I guess. I appreciate how far we've been able to come with this, and it's obviously the marathon is a good example of that, basically. So,
and with appreciation, all of this is just about family.
This is about a bunch of families. We have the family of the Owlton Bombastic, the family of Pat and Dancer, the family of Spods and Danny, and the family of Zenger and James. You know, those are the four big families.
Yeah. The four houses of
Cakecore.
Sorry.
If we ever have a team-based event with the 8 of us, that's how we need to split it up. Is into families versus family versus family. You know.
For family.
Yeah.
Have you seen Spy Kids 3?
So our next topic is Spy Kids 3. What are your thoughts on Spy Kids 3, Caleb?
No. They just have this thing where they're like, for family. And then one guy talks in Spanish. Anyway.
I agree, yes.
Okay.
I have something. Think about the timing of the marathon. How well we timed that.
Oh my gosh.
Less than a month later.
Now,
and also
basically
like,
the world's on
timing of
complete
Spy Kids
lockdown.
3.
yeah. Now we should be a little bit careful with what we say, just because of a little bit of ghost stories revolving around saying a very, very big event that everyone talks about on camera and how it affects visibility of said videos. But
oh no, we're gonna get demonetized, guys.
yes, we need that money, guys. Come on. We need that money.
On my plane ride over,
my wife and kids need to eat.
I had a layover in Phoenix, and in that layover I was talking with Pat over Discord, and I was describing to him that, like, oh my god, on this 6-hour flight I was on 5-hour. It was there were people in the back and they were coughing, and I'm like, man, I don't want to catch anything.
Well, that's the thing.
So far I'm doing so well. So yeah.
Well, that's the thing. When I was coming over from Amsterdam, this was like almost a month before there was. You know, it all started off. People who had been in China, somewhere else, weren't allowed in the US, and there was people wearing masks at the airport. It was still a pretty big thing. So yeah, we got very fortunate.
Yeah, well, and usually the marathons, the 2 years prior, the marathons were held in March, both of them, and it's just.
I think they scheduled the outbreak to be after the marathon.
Yeah, like we don't want to interrupt these guys. Let them do their thing first.
Yeah.
We'll get it. Well, here's the deal. We're the ones who scheduled the outbreak.
Right?
We're like, February is no good for us. Let's push it.
People can't know that.
Now, oh yeah, you're right. Sorry, cut that out. Yeah. Now, Danny actually got really sick as a thing.
Oh, yeah.
So like
that's why I interjected when you said all of us had fun.
In another timeline, I'm curious if that outbreak would have affected Danny, and then we all got it because we decided to schedule it in March instead of February. But the whole reason we scheduled it in February was because of James. He bought his plane tickets like back in September for February, and that was the cheapest time to do it. So we're like, okay, we'll just push the marathon to February with his permission.
Great idea.
But I didn't just say
Perfect.
like, okay, you're coming all the way out here. Guess what? We're doing a marathon. Like I didn't force it on him. I gave him an out, and he didn't. He
The
didn't
good
take
old
it though.
marathon trap. It gets all of
Yeah,
us.
it gets everyone.
Yeah, it does.
So,
Really did.
dude, yeah, perfect timing. I mean, like, had we gone a little bit later, it's possible that we might have even spread something. Who knows? Like,
And James would have been
Yeah.
possibly, stuck
Trapped.
here.
Oh,
Trapped.
nightmare.
Oh,
yeah,
no.
it would have been bad.
He would have never financially recovered from that.
That is,
No.
it's something that it's just like, it's crazy how well that worked out. Like, because we usually do it in March, that would have been just a big old bummer. But yeah, Spots, I remember when you were flying out initially, I remember calling you after you like already landed or something, and I was like, okay, so yeah, like we're coming over, we're gonna bring like snacks or whatnot. I don't know, did we ever actually eat the snacks? That's my question. Or are they still in the car?
I think
to
you brought like
this
a
day?
box of Tic Tacs. I don't remember the snacks.
Box of
No,
Tic Tacs.
No, it was
those
Pop-Tarts.
weird chocolate things.
There's Pop-Tarts. We brought Pop-Tarts.
Pop-Tarts? Oh yeah.
Pop-Tarts.
I tried to teach Dancer how to do Tic Tac maracas. Yeah, it was the stale Pop-Tarts and that weird orange chocolate thing.
Oh yeah, he
also.
did
I
bring
don't know
the
if you remember
chocolates.
that.
That was him. But when Spots landed,
I
we ended up waiting like what was it, like an hour and a half for Danny because he had a delayed flight. And I remember messaging Danny, and he sent me like craziest messages that I had no idea what they meant. I want to read some of them.
I
real
remember
quick,
you
actually.
showed them to me. I can't.
Yeah,
quite
I'm gonna try to
remember what
find
they
them.
were. It was kind of funny.
Okay. So
Yeah,
I said,
so
"How's it
while
going,
Pat's finding
laddie?
them,
What plane are you taking?" There was no response. So I said, "We're big chilling at the airport. Just let us know when you land or what flight or terminal you're out on." No response. Then he said, "So we're at In-N-Out and we got you food. We think we looked up your flight and have an idea of when you land." And then finally he says, "Sorry about wait, pal, bucket guy." And then there was nothing. So I said, "What plane?" And he said, he said a number, which is not what I meant. I meant what airline. And then he says,
He said a number.
Yeah.
What do you mean by a number?
like the plane number. And then he said from where he came from. And I was like, well, I don't need that either. And then he said, the plane is white. And then he said, and so am I. So then I said, which airline? And then he told me the airlines. And I was like, okay, I'll be there soon. And he said,
What flavor of airplane did you take?
what
what flavor? And then he said, praise be to something that I don't know if it's an actual word. I've yet to Google it yet. So I replied with word, to which he replied indubitably. And then and then we picked up Danny, but we then we were all like in the car and we had to drive to a store because we had to get stuff for the marathon. And that was a crazy trip to the store because everyone was very, very tired and just going off the rails with regular banter. But it took us a lot longer than it needed to. We just needed fish and habaneros. And it took a long time.
The fish that you ran over.
Yeah. So should we tell the
Oh,
story?
you
about
can
the
you
fish?
can tell the
No.
story for the fish if you want.
So you know how people commonly put items on top of their car before getting into them
You know
to free
how
up hand
people do
space,
this.
right? So we got a raw fish at the store. Actually, I think it was more frozen than raw.
Yeah,
Anyway,
it was frozen.
so I got a fish at the store, and we put it on the roof, and we freed up some hand space, and we got the fish. We got in the car and we left. Except we didn't actually get the fish; it was still on the roof. So when we were driving off, we heard like a little bump on the back of the car, and then we're like, "What is that?" And I immediately knew. Oh, tambourine! I immediately knew. I'm like, "That's the fish."
Tambourine.
So we pull over into an empty parking spot to quickly run over and retrieve the fish, just to see another car drive next to it. Now here's where stories
This is where it's controversial.
This is where it gets really controversial, guys. I swear that second car moved the fish. Like that fish was 100% run over, but not many other people agree with it. Anyway, that's the
I think
fish
the
Danny
jury's
used
still
to
out.
smack himself. Yeah.
I think Danny's on the fence. Daniel didn't see it, and then I'm just not so sure. But so it's we don't know
Fish
where.
didn't look like it was run over.
But
That's a tough
It's
fish.
funnier though if it got run over. So we like that idea better. So we'll cut out all the controversy surrounding. We'll just leave it as it got run over. Also, the bag was ripped, so that's something that could have just been from falling off the car. But
okay.
Could have been
Look,
from the car
it
too.
could have actually ran over the bag,
The
but not the
accident.
fish. So it did hit it, but
no,
not
wait,
the
Caleb, you're
fish.
adding more options. We don't need more options. We just need clarity. We need less options. We need to narrow it down. So yeah, but after that, we drove
Did
him.
the car try to open the fish?
What?
Did the car try to open the fish?
That's a good question. More and more
Try
options.
to open.
Did the car park
What?
and then the tires started using or like pinched the bag to try to like?
Yeah.
Wait, hang on a minute. You didn't want more options. Now you're writing a novel.
Guys, this is the rest of the podcast. We need to finish this story. What happened to the fish when it fell off the car?
Leave your answers in the comments.
Yeah, leave the answer in the comments. But yeah, then we dropped them back at their hotel, which was actually not a hotel. It was definitely a motel. And
A ghetto hotel.
very,
I'd
very
probably
ghetto.
say. Anyway.
Oh no, it was ghetto.
it was.
It was a weed tell.
I just don't want to admit it.
Yeah, no, it was definitely far. Oh, you know what's crazy? Daniel and I actually drove by there recently, and we think we caught a drug bust because there was
That doesn't surprise me in the
No,
slightest.
it doesn't.
there was a big old car with all the doors open and police all around it, and a bunch of people handcuffed sitting on the sidewalk. So we
Live PD.
it was right next
I bet
door
you
to that,
every other
to that
room.
motel.
Oh, of course it.
Yeah.
was.
Every other room was used for that,
Speaking of
except the
live
ones they
PD.
gave us.
That is what was on the TV when Danny and I needed to pass time when we were just at the motel because the Wi-Fi sucks. So no gaming, no thank you.
Was it a good show?
But what was interesting about the motel is that so Danny and I roomed together there, if you could even call it rooming together. Every room, and we had 3 different rooms for 2 different nights. Or no, 3 rooms for 3 nights.
Right.
Although we only booked for 2 separate rooms. There's more of that later. Every
Stay
room
tuned.
had a mystery stain in it. So the first room,
God.
had this weird stain on the bed sheets that we think we know what it was. And also the fire alarm went off every 30 seconds.
It went off like just
30
like.
seconds is
beeping.
generous. I think it was
yeah,
sooner.
So
we had
the battery
to,
needed.
Well, it just
So after a
beeped,
couple
didn't it? It
hours
didn't, like,
later-
go off.
Yeah, it just
After a couple hours later, we moved into James's room and crashed the night. I think Zenger actually thought we were robbing the place.
Okay, yeah, that's funny. So they walked in here at like midnight or something. I don't know, but I was asleep on my bed with like all the crap I got from Disneyland on the other side of my bed, and I wake up just with these 3 people. James, Spods, and Danny are all just whispering, like very quietly. Like, okay, yeah, that's good.
and you hadn't seen them before, right?
Quiet. Shh. No, I'd never seen them before. I didn't even know what they looked like.
Oh yeah.
So I thought they were robbers or something, you know, because I was very skeptical about this area.
Oh, it's
this
definitely a
specific
skeptical.
hotel.
Oh yes, no,
Yeah.
yes.
You had
there's
every
reason
right.
to be skeptical.
No one blames you.
And I thought, you know what? I don't care. I'm tired, and I just went back to sleep.
and they woke up and all their
So
stuff was
night
gone.
2.
Yeah,
So
and
the
then we were
night-
robbed blind.
I like
The
the
night-
idea of, just take the stuff, let me sleep.
I'm only going to go into one more stain, but it's definitely the best stain. So night 2,
I'm only
right?
gonna go into one more.
We only have time for one more stain, guys. Let's make it quick.
We
Hold on, hold on.
we only got time for one more. So
James-
night 2, we all
James-
arrive at the motel, and we were okay. So maybe they fixed the fire alarm because they definitely did in the room. Nope, they didn't. Fire alarm's still going off, but the room is cleaner. So I don't know why the thought
They
process.
just took
was
all your
there.
stuff.
So we
That's
called.
what happened.
We phoned the front desk. And we're asking them, what do we do
At least
about
they have
this?
a
And she's
phone.
like, oh, just take the fire alarm out of the ceiling.
Yeah, that's up to code right there. Just
So we
take it
do
out.
that, but the thing was still
While
beeping.
you're,
So
while you're at it, can you remove the sprinkler head?
So,
James, that
They
has
don't
the same
work.
energy of when we went to the Hoover Dam. We
No, right,
when we
okay.
went to the Hoover Dam. We
So
pulled
instead
up.
of continuing to break federal law, she just decides to give us a larger room, no extra charge, and we're very thankful for that. But when we do get to the larger room, there's a red stain on the floor.
Oh, red.
Oh my
Like-
god.
And we're
Oh,
like, what the
no.
hell happened here? And I am so like worried, like there's a murder here, or like there's some like infected blood or something on the floor.
All the above.
But and all the above. But like, rest assured, no, that was worst case scenario. That did not happen. Thank God. It was only a bottle of ketchup, and we know it was a bottle of ketchup because there was a stale bottle of ketchup below the TV on the shelf.
Why is there ketchup below the TV?
I don't know.
I don't think I even heard that
No.
part.
CC, they planted that there so that you would just think, ketchup.
Oh, it was a quick save.
You
It was a
know.
quick save.
Quick
Yeah,
save,
yeah.
quick save.
So when James and I went to the Hoover Dam, when we pulled up there was like a security officer there. We had to roll down our windows, and he asked us if we had any firearms. We said no, and he said, "Okay, move along."
You just have to say no.
Greatest
You got it.
security ever.
Are you sure?
Are you sure?
Well, and what's fun?
You
You
look
guys
like
aren't
the
very
kind
safe
of
over
people-
there.
Now
In the West.
so James went to Texas first, and I don't know if that gave him some different conceptions, but I know when he went to California, he was frequently asking like, "Oh, do they have guns? Like, do you have guns? Does Owl have guns?" Yeah, he was asking a lot about like. I was like,
Wait,
did you
wait,
see
was
some
I?
things in Texas? There's just a lot of gun wielders in Texas.
I don't remember that.
I don't know. In California, it's pretty rare to even find a gun shop. Like you gotta do your research to find where to get a gun here. But
I never saw a single gun. I just saw loads of advertisements for gun shows. I mean, that's obviously out of the ordinary for me, but I just saw loads of gun shows.
that seems most.
and
Yeah,
that.
guns are huge in Texas.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
yeah.
that's
okay,
not
I gotcha.
huge here. I don't think. I've ever seen a sign for that.
Yeah, I don't know. If
Although I don't read many signs. Like,
I
to be
think
honest, it's
you
hard
have to
avoid.
jump in California. You have to jump like several hoops to even look at a gun.
that's called breaking the law.
Especially
Thank
where I
goodness.
live, where it's like a small Texas town. A lot of people conceal carry.
Oh wow.
So it's just kind of expected.
Yeah.
That someone would have a handgun at pretty much any time.
Sure. The
Yeah.
only guns I got are these, right? There you go.
Hey.
Hey, oh, can I tell you guys a joke about tickets to the gun show?
Sure.
No.
Do you have
I don't
them?
What? It's not a joke. That's a question.
Okay, yeah, no, I regret that. I regret
yeah.
that.
So, but yeah, that it's just interesting though. Like, I don't know why. Like, I find this interesting, but I find it interesting the different combinations of people that end up doing things together. Because like, first, like, James and Zenger were together for a long time, and then they met Daniel and I and had lunch one day. But then later, Spods flies in, and then it's Spods, Daniel, and I, and then we pick up Danny, and it's us four. But then we leave before James and Zenger save Danny and Spods from their hotel room, and it's just like we had pretty much every combination imaginable at some point, which was just kind of interesting because we had just so many people floating around that it just ended up happening. At some point though, we almost had everyone get.
It took a long time to get everyone together.
Oh,
though,
it didn't
It was
happen
not
until
until
the,
the
day
marathon.
before the marathon.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
Exactly.
Daniel finally arrived. Like, okay, group picture now, because we just could not organize something beforehand. And that's just kind of well. I mean, like, it's just like everybody's got all these different schedules. It's like how do you find time to align? And then it makes you realize why there's not more like 8-person videos on our channel or whatnot. Like, because even just scheduling online, it can be difficult. But the marathon also represented the first, I think, the first 8-person Cakecore video, but also like the first all 6 members in one place, or all 6 members in one video. I'm pretty sure, right? I don't think we've done that before.
We got to do an 8-person scribble.
Except the relaunch one. But does that count?
The relaunch Cakecore video. Yeah, I guess that
It was
counts.
a spliced.
it was
run.
spliced, yeah. But yeah, it's crazy that it's also crazy to think like freaking like okay, so every marathon it's like okay, cool, so we're gonna make this marathon better next year or whatnot, and then like okay, cool, we'll make it better next year. It's like I don't know how we're gonna get better than this marathon, to be honest. That's like
Yous all come to Scotland. There we go.
oh yeah, they problem solved.
Buy your
I mean,
plane
yeah,
tickets.
but-
Come to Scotland. We'll have it here.
Hey,
Marathon
buy
live
your
at
tickets now
Stonehenge.
while they're cheap.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
true.
well,
That's
England then.
you know what? That is true. They are dirt cheap right now.
Ooh, we can have Casmic as a special guest, and then get all the UHC normies to watch us. So
So
we can make
this
that
is
better.
this is why Spods is our branding manager. He understands that side.
I know the web of people.
Yeah, the web of people. But yeah, it's crazy though that everyone got together and actually played games for 24 hours. That's pretty insane. I think some of the most insane parts was doing Ultra Cakecore live with no people online, just everybody, everyone who was in Ultra Cakecore Live was in that house, which is kind of crazy. And it was like enough people for a small Ultra Cakecore, you know, like.
It worked well because, like, do we not have a lot of people planned to join us? And in the end, no one really did, either because it was too early or because people were busy.
I think there were a couple of different RRs. From my understanding, there were like several different RRs that were recorded at the exact same time as as our Ultra Cakecore.
Right.
So like all of the people who usually join like couldn't make it, but it's still like, we're fine. Like we still have like 7 people playing. So or it was like 6 people. I feel like we had one person online though, unless I'm wrong.
No, I think every single person in the game, whether specking or playing, was in the house.
I mean, yeah, I guess.
But we didn't all play. One of us, was it you that was specking, Pat, or Alton?
We both were spectating because I had to do the donations and.
Oh right, okay, so it was 6.
Yeah.
So it was 6 of us, but yeah, still.
What's interesting though, the marathon got longer, but I feel like I played less events because. Well, for one, we divvied it out more, but also like I was doing most of the donation stuff most of the time, and I'm curious if there's ever going to be a point where I just don't play at all, where I'm literally just the background the whole time. Which hey, I don't even mind that so much, you know. That doesn't sound too bad to me. But I remember like the first time doing like commentary during a game, I think it was Seth Blank's building game, and I was like, oh, this is weird. Like, where's Caleb? I feel like Caleb should be doing this. It felt unnatural. But yeah, it's I think having a lot more people definitely made 24 hours possible. Like being able to divvy stuff out or whatnot was super helpful.
The ending, yeah.
No, go for it.
I was just gonna say the end of it's a blur. So to have more people there to like, at least somebody's going to be on the kind of help.
Yeah, well, I feel like
it might have been smarter to have half of us sleep during the first half of the marathon, and then
you see
that way.
But
you'd have to align sleep schedules probably.
Yeah,
it would work better, but
a lot of people would miss Ultra Cakecore and stuff like that, which I assume like a lot of people I think wanted to play rather than like sleep.
Well, I mean, we could stick around for like those kind of big events, but then
the first half is mostly those big events, like the Cakecore tournament and the Ultra Cakecore and like the public round. And
I guess you're fair about that. Yeah.
I think I just thought it would be difficult to schedule people to sleep during the day specifically. I just thought that's kind of tough to do because if you get a night shift and you're only scheduled to sleep in the day, then it's kind of sucks for you because it's like I couldn't sleep in the day and now I can't sleep at night because of the marathon running. So those were the kind of thoughts that was going in my head. Like I try to keep most of the breaks in the later hours, but it did ultimately though. Like if it were just the 4 of us, there'd be no way we could run a 24-hour one. That was.
Oh yeah, no.
And we were actually talking, Caleb and I, about like future ones. Like I don't know if like because it's pretty safe to say the next marathon is not going to have all 6 of us. You know what I mean? It's just not going to happen. But we also, if there's not 6 of us, we're probably not going to be able to do a 24-hour stream. So it's possible we'll go back to like 18 hours for the next one. But that's obviously long ways away. We have a lot of time to talk about it and figure stuff out. But basically, we should all just be super thankful that this one happened and that it actually worked super well. Like during 24 hours, at every like 10-minute interval, there's a chance of something to go crazy wrong and stuff just not work, i.e. Internet just cutting us out, like internet going out for the day, then we're screwed.
Or Battlefront not being picked up by the stream.
I mean, that was one of the most fun times of the stream.
Or blue screening.
The blue screen was...
Oh, wait, they all happened.
But I mean, like, nothing that halted the stream. Like, it's not like if Danny got any sicker, we might have had to take him to the hospital.
Right. Yeah,
so if things escalated in that front, ultimately though we were able to be live for that long and still
even the blue screen didn't halt it that much because it was Sten's transition and he was able to do it through chat while
that's right,
stuff out.
Sten was a carrier for a bit.
That worked out well.
Shout out to Sten picking up 2 transitions.
An invite to next one.
Also he waited at he did them at the hours where it's tough to get people. Speaking of hours where it's tough to get people, the saddest part of the marathon every time was waking up people for the events they had to do. That was a sad moment. Whenever someone had to wake up, I just always felt so bad. I was like, oh man, they deserve to sleep right now. But like when James had to do foosball or when Spods had to do the tournament round. I guess that would be foosball also. Like, there's always just this look in their face, like, I'm not supposed to be awake.
We all
right
hated to get to foosball, but when we were there, foosball kind of slapped.
Yeah, foosball really did slap. And I'm surprised anyone was able to sleep during that. That's kind of crazy. But yeah, like getting people up for their events, man, it was just another like depressing, like it was a sad puppy waking up every single time. And I had to see a lot of it. I witnessed a lot of people going from hero to zero very quickly. And
thing is, a lot of it, as I said, went in a blur, and as you said, because like I remember doing I think it was this thing with Owlton. So I don't even remember what event that was, but we ended up playing on Hypixel. I remember none of that. I was asleep full playing. I'm sure it was the same for other people doing other events.
I had joined it. I was like,
oh, Deep Voice Caleb making his debut.
Gosh.
Yeah, the Egg Wars.
I'll be back.
Egg Wars with Owlton was when I almost got some shut eye, but it just didn't really happen. I tried. I got maybe 10 minutes, but it wasn't gonna work out.
That's the thing. No one was there. Everyone was asleep except Owlton.
Yeah. Well, and yeah, I guess
I was
yeah,
asleep. I was asleep while playing.
You're asleep playing. Yeah. I'm glad you were very active during like some of the like the hockey and stuff like that, because I was pretty much out of it at that point. I had a hard time staying awake at that. But you guys seem to carry it pretty well. And then Caleb came by around the end too, and Seth I think came by also, and that was nice.
Yeah, I mean, it was, at the end of the day, it was people doing their part at different points. Yeah. Getting up when they had to. So it worked fairly well. And as you say, that'll come from 8 people being there as opposed to 4 or
speaking
less.
of waking up, I realized that he had to wake up at 4 a.m. to play piano.
Yeah, he also had a lot of peppers in his system, which, by the way,
he wasn't feeling good.
Yeah, but
the peppers.
Yeah. No, you go.
That's our next.
No, yeah. How did you feel about your peppers, Bods?
I felt like I actually handled it pretty well, minus the shaking in the corner.
I don't know if we ever caught that on camera. That was pretty funny though.
Hardly any. You know when your teeth chatter because you're cold?
Yeah.
Like that is what I went through.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, ironically too. I mean, my pepper went pretty well. I'm surprised Deeber did his hot pocket thing.
Your pepper never came back. Oh, the hot pocket! I forgot about the hot pocket.
That
was the nail in his coffin though. That took him out.
I rewatched that on the stream and I was just thinking, what are you doing? Like, if you could go back and reverse one thing.
What you see on the stream, unless you've eaten one before, is just a bright orange pepper. You're like, oh look, that looks delicious. I'm gonna put that in my ramen, right?
Once you're holding
you're not going to.
When you're holding it, it's a different story. Remember how long it took to build it takes so long to build the courage just to put it in your mouth. Like you don't want to put it in your mouth when you're actually holding it.
I didn't have the courage. I opted out of it.
Yeah, no, and here's the deal. I don't know if the podcast is a place to announce this, but we've decided that we're not going to do the peppers again next time. We just feel we can't do it anymore.
Okay, you're not going to do the peppers again next time. No,
we're not. It's we've done our time. You've seen our reactions. But honestly, also, peppers was in the first marathon was like our only incentive. So it was naturally our highest donation raising. But now that we have all these others, like the beautiful addition of the slap Danny with a fish.
Oh my gosh, that made
that outdid the peppers by a lot. Like that.
But the thing is, the whole Dan with the fish would have been better if like Extra Life had a better donation system at the time. Because every time they donated, we didn't get a message, even though they typed the message.
Yeah, well, sometimes it would work and sometimes it wouldn't.
Yeah,
there had to been some checkbox or something that if you checked it, like it suddenly didn't work, but still let you do the message. Yeah, the system is not great, but at the very least, they actually have incentives this time, which causes.
Yeah, that is like crazy.
It's so nice to not have to deal with all these different Google forms and stuff like that. So hopefully it continues to improve in the future. But yeah, like in the past, the peppers were kind of all we had. Now we just feel like we don't really need them anymore. Like we raise donations without them basically in a decent amount too. And we've all been through it at this point. Like we've all felt the spice and it always.
Well, I was going to say I was an exception. I got lucky. I had a jalapeno, no effect whatsoever. So. I mean, jalapenos are a hit or a miss.
Didn't you opt out of habanero?
No, I never opted out. No, the only thing I opted out of was nail painting, and I ended up spent
did
the
opt out,
entire
James.
time with painted nails.
Yeah, you
No, I
No,
didn't.
no, James,
I didn't
you
opt
did.
out.
There was a time. Okay, so right after Bombastic took his, you actually asked me to mute the
Oh, right,
microphone for a little
during
bit.
it.
Yeah, you're like, Pat, do you mind just muting for just
Ah.
a second? I was like, oh shoot, what's up? I didn't know it was coming up, and you're just like, yeah, I don't want to do the pepper. I'm like, oh well, we didn't have to mute for
I
that. You
don't
could have
remember
just said
that.
that on the.
I mean, I believe you. I don't remember it though.
Yeah,
but,
you saw
okay.
Seth's reaction, and you were like,
But I
I'm
remember
out.
at the start when you went round before
Yeah.
asking everyone what they wanted to.
And
Zenger
then-
and I opted out for nail painting.
Right.
And I got the first thing I got
Nail
was nails
painting.
painted. 'Cause 2 people donated, of course.
Yeah, I was willing to volunteer myself or any other person, like say, hey, pick a new person or whatnot. But, that'd be nice if we could like get like specific people worked into the incentive system, but it's just not cut out for that yet. Like, but maybe it'll improve, But ultimately, it's not like the dough shit comes through and we automatically get nail polish. We can say like, oh hey, by the way, this is a mistake. Like we put it on someone else or whatnot. Which is nice. What would suck is if you put in the donation, a robot hand would come out of the computer, force a pepper down your throat, and you're like, no, wait, I wasn't even opted, and then you just eat the pepper.
Pepperboarding.
That you see,
Wait, no.
that's a very advanced technology for a website that does not do great incentives, But basically, all that to say, we'll probably won't be doing the peppers next time, but we'll have plenty of other incentives, I'm sure, that work out well. I like the whipped cream
We need
one
more fish,
personally.
too.
The whipped cream one sucks because you smell it the rest of the marathon, but like,
I'm opting out of whipped cream next
you know,
time.
peppers you're okay with, but the whipped cream you're like, nah,
Yeah.
fam.
Here's
Wait,
the thing,
Spudge,
though,
you were
is
the
that when
first
I
one.
got, because I have, I'd say, longer than average hair.
Right.
And it got in basically, you know how most people kind of aim for the face. I felt Danny sort of missed the mark there,
Yeah.
or at least if he was aiming for my entire head, then he hit the target.
Well, he was aiming for the wall.
Uh-huh.
He made quite an impact on the wall.
Oh
Well,
yeah, yeah. So I'm like, how do I get this out of my hair? And Seth is like, oh, you can just wash your hair real quick. So then I got up to his bathroom and I'm like, I haven't seen a working shower in 2.5 days. So I'm gonna take one
you
here.
took your time. Actually, no, you
Yeah, I did.
you left. I think you didn't join Walls because of it. You wanted to, or were you in Walls? No, I don't.
No, he was in
He was
Wolves.
in
He was in
Wolves?
Wolves.
Yeah,
you
I was
didn't
in Walls.
join something. Sethlink's building game maybe.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. You missed an event because of it, but I was like, yeah, no, you do you. Do it. Here's the thing. I've been wanting to play. I keep making those UHC wall maps, and I keep thinking like, man, I really want to play this. I can never do it though because I'm always like setting up. This marathon, I actually booked myself to play it, and then like when the time came, I'm like, oh, I'd rather work the donations than do this right now. It felt like I don't know, like it felt like doing commentary would be too much for me. Like I was like I'd rather focus on this, and so I didn't end up doing it. But one of these marathons, I gotta actually do it because it looks like a lot of fun. And I'm always setting up those worlds, and I'm like, dang, I want to do this. But yeah. Anyway, the whipped cream pie though, I kind of like it though because it's like we might be able to work it out so we tie our hair back or something, if we're concerned about getting it in our hair. But
Well, you did it differently. You're at the time you did it, Pat, because Spoz was standing up. He was the first one to get
Yeah.
pied. I think you were the second, and you laid down, and I think you covered yourself a bit. So
Yeah.
the only thing that was going to get hit was the floor and not the light. So
Or the
yeah, I think over time it evolved.
the biggest
and
mistake
got-
was not wearing my jacket though. What was wrong with me? I could have just put on my jacket. That way I wouldn't have to smell it on my shoulders like the entire time.
Okay, the one thing that sucks about the pie to the face is if any whipped cream gets in your nose, it just smells
You're
so
done.
bad.
You're
Oh,
done.
like, ever.
You're knocked out.
It's
Yeah.
terrible.
Because you guys both
Ayo.
got it. You and Seth both got it in 2019 marathon. I did your guys at the same time.
I didn't
I
get it
remember.
this time. I was actually kind of thankful I didn't get it because
Yeah.
that was bad. Like it just
I'd
you couldn't get that smell out. I just
That's
couldn't.
true.
Not until like the next day.
I'd probably do it again though. I think I
No, yeah, I do it. Again,
I guess-
but it's just like
when I think of the peppers, I'm like, oh yeah, anything but like the dude, this last pepper. So Pat's kind of known for being someone who gets a pepper every once in a while, right? Over the last couple years.
First one ever.
Yeah, the first donation we received was from Spotters, and it was to eat a pepper just instantly right off the bat. And that one knocked me off my feet. I was like, I'd never experienced it before. It was bad. The second marathon though, I was like, okay, this isn't my first rodeo. I can do this. And I handled the first one of the second marathon fine. Third one of the second marathon also fine. The fourth one, I was done. It was because I took like all the habaneros on the second marathon, and it messed me up so bad. But this time I was like, okay, I'm only gonna do 2. That's my limit, dude. I did 1, and it was the worst I've ever felt. Like it felt like worse habanero than.
Yeah, I
others.
was really concerned, like just being there.
Yeah, I mean, it came straight out. It didn't stay down. It went right out. Which was the first time it happened to me. But I remember like sitting there with Seth, and we're just both crying because we both just had it, and I was like, oh, it was a cool moment. At least I was like, oh, Seth and I are at least bonding this together. And you know what? There's a study that says like if you get a bunch of people in a room who've never met before and have them talk, like the conversations might not be super great. But if you do the same thing with people, but then give each of them a habanero, then the conversations apparently are much more developed and whatnot because they're all going through something together. You know.
What?
Habanero.
Yeah, habanero. The truth serum, which is why we're not having any, no truth allowed. But yeah, definitely the fish slapping though. That's got to make a return. That was a popular one. But also, I think part of it is just because it was a solid donation number. Like it was $20, and I think a lot of people are like, yeah, I'll just donate $20. You know what I mean? Like I feel like that's kind of a staple donation.
And then they're like, dude, what? Wait, I get to slap Danny with a fish?
I think the fact that we had both Dan's was
It's
perfect
like you virtually
too.
slap him.
Yeah, no. Dan slapped Dan with a fish. It's just the way it sounded.
Nobody else
was
was
appealing.
I mean, here's the deal. I'm sure
No.
a lot of people would have been fine to be slapped with a fish, but like the fact that it was just Dan and Dan was great. But we had to adjust it, of course, when Danny went into his coma, his deep sleep.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Height coma.
Boy, who could have? We prepared for a lot of stuff. Who could have prepared for that? that came out of nowhere.
So the way pre-production for this marathon. So we spent the night before where the marathon was going to happen, and it is pretty high up elevation-wise.
Mhm.
Danny, I think, later attributed this to elevation sickness.
Yeah.
So I think he was just up there for the wrong amount of time.
Yeah.
And but he was fine after that. So I wonder like if we spent 2 nights instead of 1, it would have been better. Or like should we like purposefully have him get sick before the marathon?
The morning before the marathon, he woke up before everyone and was totally fine. Or sorry, the morning after the marathon. I mean, the after marathon.
Yeah, it hit
hit
around
different.
like the 3rd or 4th event.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure everyone there, including myself, felt very concerned.
Yeah.
Toward Danny the whole time through. I mean, it was on my mind.
I would have been more
second
concerned
half.
if he wasn't sleeping like the whole time because
You
I was
guys
just thinking
felt
like,
an
okay,
earthquake,
sleep
or
is
was
great
that just
medicine.
me?
If he was up and like groaning and limping around like a zombie, then I would. But I mean, at least he was sleeping and trying his best to fight.
Well,
it.
and that guy slept
And he
so
got-
long. He slept like the entire marathon.
14 hours in a 24-hour marathon.
Yeah, that's crazy. He got so much sleep.
But he did get his transition in, which was legendary. So thankfully he was well enough for that.
I mean, the moments Danny was in, he was not phoning it in too. He was trooping along. The moments he was in, he never like phoned it in or anything, which was cool. He did like 2 transitions basically because we had a transition that I don't remember. We were transitioning, but it wasn't actually a transition time, so no one was allocated. So I was just like, Danny, get up there, do something, and then he did his thing, and it worked well. But yeah, when he did get bundled up, and then like it's pretty funny. Every once in a while, you just be like, oh, it's so hot, and like throw everything off again, and then later like so cold, puts it all back on. The poor guy. But yeah, and then the next morning, super chirpy,
like
just
it never
like
happened.
it never happened, just totally normal again. I remember Panda asking in chat too, like, what happened to Danny? Because he bought like hot sauce for Danny or something, and I was like, you gotta choose someone else.
We're like, oh no, you
yeah, I'm like, sorry, that's just not gonna happen.
We're gonna spoon feed him hot sauce in his sleep.
Oh my god, no.
It was like a moment of realization though, like after it had all happened. It was like he'd been on a really, really good night out and couldn't remember any of it. He was just like, dude, I slept for 14 hours in a 24-hour marathon. Like, yep.
I felt
And
bad
all
when
the-
we had to
with the
kick him off
stupid
the
t-shirt.
couch. When we're like, all right, we gotta use the couch, dude. You gotta. But someone made him a very nice bed on the right that I think got used multiple times by different people too. I think just cycling in and out of the normal spots. Yeah. Overall though, crazy experience. It's so cool that we can see any of that now, like just through like looking at stuff, and even like the vlogs side of it or whatnot. Playing Mario Kart at the library and stuff like that. Like it's just crazy rewatching. Like, wow, that actually
Not
happened.
clickbait.
That's
You
pretty
know,
crazy.
when we were playing Mario Kart, I was kind of like, this is the good old days.
This is the good.
Like this is it.
Yeah, this is the calm before the storm. Yeah,
It really was.
no. For me, like the real like big the craziest part for me was when I was, because it hit me during the marathon when I was sitting on the couch. You know, couches hit different. once you're not setting
McDonald's
stuff up and you're
couches,
sitting
though.
on the couch. On the same couch though was James, Spotters, and Caleb, and it dawned on me that at that moment in time, I was sitting with the 4 people I've collaborated with the most, like the 4 people I've made things with the most out of anyone else that I've collaborated with. I was like, they're sitting on the same couch right now. Like that's a legendary moment. It felt like because
Hey, Zenger, how I'm gonna get into this next thing here. Speaking of like meeting these people and being starstruck by just people
Starstruck.
and your friends. Starstruck, completely starstruck.
Yeah.
I mean, the way you're talking about it, Pat. Zenger, have you really traveled that much before the marathon?
Okay, let's think. That was the first time I'd ever driven myself and traveled that far. I'd never driven in another state outside of Texas.
Yeah, and obviously you're like
But-
family new, right? I'm not here to like investigate, but
that
yeah.
sounds like an
Yeah,
Yeah, I was
interrogation.
born in, like,
because I just want to compare some things real quick because James, I don't know if anyone close to you knew you were leaving the country. But when my and I bought these tickets and I kept them like secret for like weeks. But when my family knew, oh my god, my mom was texting me like once every other day or so, like, you sure you trust these people? Like you're gonna be safe out there? You promise?
Frankly,
Like,
all reasonable
if
texts.
anyone
Those
spikes
are-
your drink, don't drink it. Like that's,
Yeah, like that's
Yeah,
very
my-
reasonable concern, I'd say. Like that's
when James first
yeah, very
texted me or
reasonable. And
messaged me
yeah.
that he was gonna be in the US, I told my mom was very supportive actually. She really wanted me to do this. She basically she gave me like a bunch of leeway on rent and all that. Let me quit my job to do this because they wouldn't have let me take the time off.
But you were
before-
also unhappy with your job beforehand, right?
Yeah, I mean it was
Yeah.
just a crappy fast food job. I wasn't super excited about it.
You see,
You know?
some might say I kind of did the same thing, as I kind of left my job for this, but it's not. That's not exactly. I mean,
It was like, do I want this fast food job that pays $8.50 an hour, or do I want to go on this amazing trip with James and Douglas
yeah.
for an entire month?
Well, and like for me, it was like, okay, I need to leave this job, but like, when would the time work out? Oh, about a month before the marathon sounds like a great time to do it. Like the timing worked out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah. No, when I told when I spoke with my family, they're like, they thought it was weird. Like I think everyone who hears
Oh,
about
yeah,
this
yeah.
thing's like,
Yeah,
what?
yeah, and
What was
one
that?
outside of the internet? Like no one that's not in an like internet friendship that spans for years. I don't think they really understand. And that's what I was
No.
getting into.
It's kind of foreign
like
concept.
no one like like flying across the country to meet someone that you've been gaming with for like 3 years.
It sounds crazy to other people.
It
yeah.
does sound
It sounds
crazy.
absolutely like bonkers.
Especially when you put it that
Yeah.
way.
Especially when you fly all the way from the UK to California in
And
hopes
forget
that we're
across
not
the
crazy
country,
people.
across the globe.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, like my mom, I'm sure all of your moms and whatever were kind of skeptical about all of your friends, but when she met James, it was kind of good from there.
Oh, James.
No,
Because now she
James
has a
is-
face to the name. she
Yes.
has
Yeah.
a name.
We
the
just need to
name,
show
you know?
James to everybody's mom, because I feel like
Yeah,
I feel like
just-
James would get along with every mom in the entire world. You know, that
He
gets
gave
me
him all
wrong.
my fridge
Oh,
magnet as a
I
peace
kid you
offering.
not.
Yeah.
So you briefly met my mom, James, and I kid you not, she talks about you the most. It's just like you leave that impression.
I do wish I'd had more time, like to, like, because it was just a passing conversation.
Yeah.
But she's like, very talkative in that. So
Well, and I
Yeah.
think to build on that, like it would be really cool to have a similar event where we're not super focused on producing something. And I know it's
Right.
hard to even like
Mhm.
schedule stuff like that when you don't have that as the back mind or in the back of your mind. But like the idea of everyone just getting together just to hang out for like a week would be crazy awesome. I mean, like, yeah,
Well,
we did as much as we could.
That was my kind of philosophy on the trip with James. Like, we made a couple of vlogs about it,
Yeah.
but we didn't. We wanted the trip to be about just us making memories and having the
vlogged
trip, more than
you didn't
making a
travel
vlog.
for the
Yeah.
You vlogged
Yeah.
the trip. You didn't trip the vlog.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, exactly.
Yeah.
Like it.
And that's the thing. I was just gonna say, like, neither of us have like close friends in real life, really, that we'd have been able to do that sort of
At
trip.
all.
And yeah, exactly. So that's why it was such a monumental thing, was we could get together and actually do it, because we're both so relaxed with each other. We've known each other for so long, and that sort of thing. I certainly don't know anyone in real life. I would have been able to make
I haven't talked to anyone
like
in real life since James left the airport.
Yeah. I mean, like, I don't, well, and even just like couch play stuff, right? Like playing multiplayer in person. Who can you actually, like, who do you actually do that with? I can't even do that with Caleb and Seth. Like, we can't even find time. We hardly find any time to even do that. So like, it'd be cool, because like we dedicate all this time to do these like special events. It'd be cool sometime to just dedicate the time just for hanging out and doing things that friends do for like a long period of time. And obviously we did as much as we could, but like I'm glad we were able to get food as often as we did. That's the American way of hanging out, just getting food. And that was nice. But it would be
it was
cool.
good we did something. It was good we did something we normally do anyway, because I don't think that. I think that made it more natural, if you like. Like, we normally do the marathon, or at the very least, we normally play video games. I mean, the night before, you were
we normally make
playing
YouTube videos.
So we were playing Bed Wars or whatever.
Yeah.
So to some extent, we're all doing natural stuff. I mean, it was a bit weird though, sitting there playing like Bed Wars, thinking I'm in America here, and all I'm doing is Bed Wars.
Yeah. Well, and again, with like doing things you always do, even just like not things that we specifically do, but like I'm glad, like, getting dinner and stuff was kind of nice, because it's something that everybody lands on. Everybody eats dinner, you know what I mean? Not everybody's into bowling. Not everybody's into roller skating. Not everybody's into karaoke. Not everybody's into like watching movies and stuff. So it's like, it was nice that like, oh, at the very least, we all get dinner pretty frequently and have some nice conversations over it. And at the very least, when a lot of people hang out, a lot of people get worried about just not being able to like talk to them for a long period of time. We don't have that problem, because we're talking for 24 hours straight to each other. You know what I mean? Like, not everybody's fortunate to where they can like have those kind of events where, I don't know. I hear a lot from my friends, like people saying like, oh, we just didn't really like get to talk much, which kind of sucks. And it's like, yeah, I guess if you plan all these events, you don't always get to do it. We talked for 24 hours straight though. Like that was kind of cool. Like, we got to still tell stories and learn about it, and we were able to turn it into content. You know what I mean? Like, it's just kind of cool how that all worked out. Like, but yeah, all that said, I like to believe in a future where we all get together again. This time for probably something less time consuming than like the marathon, because I feel like we'd be able to appreciate the time specifically. I don't regret the marathon, obviously. I mean, I'm so glad we did it. That was an amazing time. I don't know. The marathons always end up being like, okay, so best times I've had. Like, marathons rank close up there. Like, I don't know. I'd never be able to choose an actual best time, but like, those always come to mind when I think of like ultimate peaks of fun that I've had, and it's pretty awesome that we were able to do that. And it kind of sounds like I'm getting into a little bit of a closing mood, and it does happen to be getting relatively closer to like a closing time. This probably going to be a little bit more extended than usual though, like an hour and a half, I'd probably say, or maybe less. But is there anything else you guys want to go over with the marathon?
Not the marathon, but did you not say we were going to discuss the past year of the channel?
I would like to, but I'd like to get everyone with their marathon stuff done first. Also, Spots, you're quiet.
I was sitting down.
Are there any more vlogs coming out besides just like the ones?
There's one more behind the scenes vlog coming out that Caleb's working on right now. Caleb just got Adobe Premiere, and he's trying to.
I have absolutely no idea how to use it.
he somehow filled his desktop
I don't know.
with images with every frame of the movie that he rendered.
Wait.
Oh, I can show it on the podcast. Yeah, I'll show it on the podcast when we.
Should I add it in right now? Or
yeah,
what is
you can.
this chat?
You can throw it in the podcast chat if you want.
Podcast.
Yeah, he accidentally filled his desktop with render images, but just like stuff like that. But at some point, I think he's going to work on the behind the scenes vlog, and then we also have other vlogs that we're trying to get out there. Hopefully, those will come out soon.
The camping vlogs. Oh, sorry. Oh, no, sorry.
No, I mean we've talked about the camping vlogs in pretty much every podcast now. I think so. We're probably good.
Oh, so no spoilers
I've
then.
got
Oh,
2
thank
of them
goodness.
that are fully edited. Did you fix one of the problems?
Yeah,
with the
I
second
fixed all the problems are fixed with those ones. So
one? Okay, good.
yeah, we just need that third one. I'll probably honestly, we could probably not even like I could probably just schedule them soon. Just so they're out there
Yeah.
without worrying so much about the third one coming out late. But because they're already late, it doesn't really matter at this point.
Yeah.
Either way,
As
that's all
long as
behind the
people
scenes
know
time.
that they weren't recently.
Oh well, I still had green hair in them, so it dates it a little bit, but either
Well,
way.
just so that somebody in the comments is not like, hey, you guys can't be doing this.
oh yeah,
Right,
you're
right.
right.
Are you going to get investigated? Are you going to get visitors from the police or something?
Oh, it would have been nice to
No.
get some visitors from the police every once in a while up there. That would have
Just
been
anyone,
nice.
any human
Oh,
contact.
actually, no, that would have been nice.
Well, the people. Did we ever tell the story on a podcast about the crazy people we met?
No.
I'm pretty. I feel like I
Not
explained
on a
it.
podcast, but you told
did-
us.
We didn't even say it in the video.
Oh, I think I said during the marathon. I think that's what it was.
You told us
Do we
off
need
camera.
to tell the story now?
No.
or-
Let's. So we'll Cakecore, a year, right? Wow, bonkers. Wait, Spots, you were
Wow.
about to say something. You were about to say something.
I was gonna bring it to where we are now.
Oh, okay. So the year Cakecore has been around for a year now, uploading like new Cakecore or whatnot,
Yeah.
and which is pretty awesome. It's always like weird to see just exactly how many videos we've done. Whenever I like scroll through the videos on the Cakecore channel, and
How many videos is that, Pat?
how many what?
How many videos have you made in this year?
Well, I haven't made not every S&P video or not every Cakecore video here I
You know what I
necessarily
mean.
made.
How many videos have Cakecore made in the past year?
I don't know. I don't know that numbers. I have some other numbers though.
Boy.
I do have some other numbers. Do you guys want to hear some other numbers?
Here's
No, I
the.
want to hear that number.
Sure. I like numbers.
Okay,
I
so
remember in the
Sure.
first couple months of this channel, I was very into the analytics of it, and every time I would get into a call with Pat, I would say, our video is doing 24% better than last time.
yeah.
But it's just something I would do. It's,
No, I mean you be you, you do what you got to do.
yeah.
If you wanted to be like the stats guy and constantly look at it and tell me what we need to do, fix things, then go for it.
we need to get clickier thumbnails and
That's a hard
and more open-ended titles.
It's a hard one.
You'll never believe what happened in this Minecraft game.
Yeah.
It's from
Go
across
on,
the
Ron.
world. Meat.
I can tell you I've pretty much made almost every thumbnail on here though. Most.
You need to put accidentally in the title. That's how you get the views.
Oh yes, accidentally drives them all in.
It's like how I accidentally won a Bed Wars game.
Yeah.
Like, man, that's some like front page YouTube stuff right there.
So in the first Cakecore podcast, I did something at the end where I tallied up how many videos everybody's been in. I've done the same thing now, except for now it's like a year in review. And if anyone has any guesses as to what the order of people are, because I'm including henchmen, which is a term that somehow stuck, and also Cakecore members. So if anyone has a guess for like what the order is, feel free to.
Zenger has to be last, right?
Pat first.
Okay.
Yeah, Pat definitely first.
You guys sure about that? I
Then
don't
I'd
know.
say-
Caleb's been in quite a bit.
I've dropped. I feel like from
I
what
said
you
Pat
said
got
last
dropped
time
too.
Then
to this
Caleb.
time, I've dropped.
I'm probably around 6 or 5.
I'm gonna say fourth for me.
Seth is definitely 7th.
7.
You're right.
Okay.
D-Bird,
been in a
D-Bird I
number of
think is
CS:GO
above
videos,
you,
right?
James.
D-Bird, D-Bird might be
D-Bird's
third now.
above you and
The
Caleb.
D-Bird stock has been
Because-
crazy lately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
D-Bird is above James and Caleb, but below Pat. So it's
Right.
Pat, D-Bird, Caleb, James,
You?
me. No. Danny,
Oh, what about Danny?
then me,
Danny might
then
even be above
Seth,
me.
then Zenger.
All right. What's the order?
Okay, so the order is myself first. Do you want the numbers too, or just the order? I'll just do the
Sure.
order first.
Give us the
yeah,
numbers.
okay.
The numbers? Because you guys can also try to guess your own numbers.
That's not
Nah,
happening.
I'm good. I didn't even guess. I don't.
I'm at 138 videos as for first. Those are
I
ones.
can't whistle. Can someone whistle like in a
Oh, Yeah, Spots can't whistle, by the way. Next podcast is going to be trying to teach Spots how to whistle. So
I'm down.
I'm at 138 videos. James is in second with 67
What?
videos.
What? Okay.
D-Bird is third with 63 videos. Then Caleb is fourth with 61 videos. Spots is next with 51 videos. Danny is next with 45 videos.
I thought they
man.
had more than me.
Bombastic is next with 42 videos. Spots, you're right on with that 7th spot. Panda is next with 15 videos.
Panda!
Yeah.
Panda's in 15 videos?
Panda, yeah, that Mindustry series, man. It brought him up.
Oh, I forgot about
I
that.
forgot Panda existed.
Zenger is next with 14 videos. And then Talon
Ben.
is next with 11 videos. Trent is next with 5 videos. And Caesar is next with 2 videos. Caesar was the one who's last
Those are just-
because he made his
Cakecore
Cakecore debut on the SMP. So,
Nice.
and there's 2 of those that he's in so
And then
far.
Ben is last with 0.
Ben is last in one deleted video, basically.
Wait, he was in a video?
He tried to
Dark
make his
Deceivers.
debut in a Counter-Strike video, and then I didn't record my audio on accident, so we ended up losing the episode.
Oh, it was all.
Oh, that was the one that we
all
did with the Panda Counter-Strike
All
instead of
hoax.
Ben's.
Were you counting the marathon on that?
I was counting the marathon, yes.
So
I
what
counted
did
the
Ben do a
marathon
transition?
as... I can't remember if I counted the marathon as 4 videos or 1 video, but I basically
Not
I counted all this
including
stuff for videos
transitions,
that would
though,
come
right?
out by the time we recorded this, which is April 22nd. But so by the time this video comes out, it'll be technically a little bit outdated. And it's also very possible I misclicked once or twice. It's very, very possible. But yeah, that would be the
So wait,
time, yeah.
what was the range of numbers from second to bombastic? What was that range?
From second to Bombastic. You had 67, Bombastic had 42.
Okay,
That's
so there's
very
a
close.
tight clump there
Yeah.
and about 20 odd, but then you're over double what second place. Well, I am. So
Yeah, yes.
That's good. That's over
Uh,
40 for each of you guys.
Yeah. I
Mm.
don't try to be, I'm constantly, if anyone wants to kick me out of Cakecore, I'm down. Just let me know and I'm out of here,
It's
Uh,
like pre-John and post-John Game Grumps.
what does that even mean?
John?
Yeah, but like,
Game
oh, you're
Grumps.
saying if I left, yeah.
Yeah.
That'd probably be less of an upset, but it would still upset my stomach, that's for sure.
Oh!
Got him. But even just seeing like, it's crazy. Just like James in this year, James has been in 67 Cakecore videos. You could say that about anyone's numbers, really. I mean, Spods has been in 51 videos in this past year. How many videos have you been uploaded to your channel, Spods?
51.
There you go. So,
No.
are they all private?
Every last-
I haven't seen any.
The only ones that I keep are the ones where I make really good effort, bud.
Rock on.
Yeah.
Neat.
Yeah. Bombastic started getting.
Good effort, bud.
You know what kind of boosted up Bombastic a bit was that the Rising Stars series that came out. He
Oh yeah,
he would have been further from Danny if that wasn't for that one. But also
it was good to get on the channel. Yeah,
the vlogs also brought everybody up because everybody was in most of those vlogs.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Zenger making his ranks with the Flatlands series being his #1 contender, but Panda just been in just enough one-offs and also the Mindustry series to keep him up. But can you guess which one of the Cakecore members, without looking, has not been in a one-off yet?
Ooh.
James.
Wait, hang on a minute. Wait, one off. Do you mean that's not part of a series?
Yeah, it's not part of a series.
Oh wait,
I've been in one off. I've been in a
Scribble's
one-off.
considered one-offs, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, then yeah. Do henchmen count?
You can guess henchmen
it's
too.
just-
Or is it just members?
You could guess henchmen too.
Because if it's,
I think it's
if
just a member.
members, it's gotta
I'll
be
tell you
Seth.
now though, I don't
Bombastic,
think a
yeah.
single henchman has not been in a one-off. Except
Seth,
Caesar.
Yeah, you're kind of right about that. It's got to be Seth. And I don't remember.
Seth's the
if
obvious
it was
answer.
Scribble.
I feel like
It's
a
not
trick
Seth.
question.
Seth was actually in We Need to Go Deeper.
It must be D-Bird. It must be D-Bird.
It is D-Bird.
'Cause
Somehow,
yeah, because
D-Bird
I
hasn't
was
done
in
a
one of the
scribble yet?
scribble.
D-Bird has
ones.
somehow
Ones.
avoided every single one-off, which is strange. It's kind of crazy.
Oh, wait a second. I
Probably
still
'cause
have
we need to get
footage
better
for we
titles
need
and
to go
thumbnails.
deeper. Maybe I can actually finally edit that in the Premiere.
Yeah, but one project at a time. Behind the scenes vlog first, and then
I'll
anything
put
else.
the I'll make sure I have my priorities
Yeah.
straight.
Speaking of priorities straight, fellas, I think maybe we've. Is there anything else people would like to talk about in this podcast before we come to our close?
What did you think about In-N-Out?
Oh, yeah, that's actually a good question.
It's
All
the
right.
best.
Right, Zenger, do you want to go first or do you want me to go first?
I'll go first.
All right.
It was unexciting.
That's fair.
All right. Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. It was okay. It did the job.
You see,
But like I was still more excited. Even Wendy's, I enjoyed Wendy's more. Taco Bell was just
Oh,
out of this world.
I'd like,
so
yeah,
that's my.
give me a quick
my
up
thoughts.
top for Wendy's, real quick, James.
Oh yeah, right.
Thank you. Yeah, Wendy's. I
Wait,
prefer
what?
Wendy's over In-N-Out like any day.
Yeah.
Wendy's is kind of my jam. But
You guys are ordering In and Out wrong.
no, you shouldn't have to order
here's the
something
thing.
wrong on a
I
menu.
told my
You had
coworkers
to
that I'm
order
going to
off
California.
the secret menu.
Oh my god.
I told my coworkers I'm going to California, and they're all like, they pretty much, I'd say about 75% of them said something about In-N-Out. Like,
Yeah.
you got to go
Well,
there,
it's
or
not-
tell me how
Are you
it
sure it
is.
wasn't In and Out's rubbish? No, I'm kidding.
I was
It's-
jealous of In-N-Out's assembly line they had back there. Dude,
Oh,
'cause
yeah.
working at Whataburger, there were like 2 people in the kitchen where I work, but there was like 15 people in a line.
There was more
Like, you didn't
staff
have-
than customers.
How would it compare to Whataburger, Zenger?
like the food.
Yeah.
Significantly cheaper and about as good.
Okay. Yeah, I had Whataburger once, and I'd probably say the same thing. I didn't think
Whataburger
Whataburger
is
was
just
super
overpriced.
special. Now,
It's
I
okay, but
had
it's overpriced.
one thing of In-N-Out, and it was after I got picked up from the airport.
yeah,
Deeper got me animal fries, and the fries were too much. Right?
it's okay because Daniel ate them all anyway.
Well, see, animal
It's just-
fries
it's
can
just-
be too
Yo,
much.
Daniel eats. All right?
Daniel eats.
Oh, yes, he does.
I don't know how he does it. The guy just eats. It's just constantly.
Yeah.
Although,
it was,
to be fair-
to me it was also whelming. Not over, not under.
Yeah.
It's whelming.
It was
At the Mexican place we went to last thing when all of us were there, Danster and I
Oh.
shared a meal and he got in trouble. He got in trouble by the guy he was ordering the food from for sharing. Apparently you weren't allowed to do that. But the guy stood there and told it lightheartedly told him off for a good few seconds because he wasn't supposed to share a meal. So that was one example of Danster not fulfilling his eating habits.
Now, I did something else at that it's called Cafe Rio, by the way. It's I asked for whipped cream instead of sour cream because I thought that's what my brain. And they're like, I mean, I could give you whipped cream, but you sure you don't want sour cream? And I was like, I dug my grave. I'm gonna sleep in it. And so I asked for whipped cream also, and I got to try a Mexican burrito with whipped cream. And I don't recommend it.
They have whipped cream.
I don't recommend
Like,
it. It didn't turn out great.
No. Wait, why did they have whipped cream? Do they have something that
I don't
actually
know.
has
They pulled it out of the
whipped cream?
back fridge and just sure enough, they have whipped cream. I don't know if it's for like their horchata or something. Which, by the way, is it's good horchata. I made house-made horchata recently, and that was not good. That was a mistake. I did not have the supplies to do that, so it was bad. You need an expert strainer. You need like a cloth strainer to get that stuff. But yeah, all that to say, yeah, that was actually the last meal we all had too, and I think that's when I said my
Yep.
farewells to both Zenger and James Douglas,
Yeah.
and I think Spods and Danny for that matter. I don't know.
The next night we slept in a car.
I think Caleb was gonna go off to his workshop and pick us up after he finished his ceramics thing, but he never did that. So Danny and I were watching live PD the whole night.
What episode was on so people can watch at home?
Man, I don't know.
What you need to write
It's
this
all the
stuff down.
same.
Was it a good episode?
Oh, okay. While we were watching live PD,
You're
I
like,
had
wait a
I'm
second,
like,
that's
man,
our hotel.
I'm like, man, I'm kind of hungry. So we have a Walmart like next
Oh, no.
next to the motel, and it's across the street in a parking lot.
Oh,
Actually, if you
no.
count the motel's parking lot, it's a parking lot, street parking lot, and you're at Walmart. So what we did was we went there to get Ben and Jerry's,
Ooh.
but they didn't have Ben and Jerry's.
What?
So we got some like twice as expensive.
Haagen-Dazs?
I don't know if it was Haagen-Dazs, but it was some sort of frozen dairy desserts, not ice cream. supposed to be ice cream. And we bought 2 spoons as well. And,
Spoons?
yeah, we just bought 2 singular spoons at
Wait,
Walmart. I think they were like
you can
35
do
cents
that?
each. And one thing as a culture shock, I don't know if it's the same everywhere around there, but the Walmart we went to, definitely not happens over here, is like you got charged per bag you use, and and the bag didn't feel plastic. It was like some sort of burlap or something.
Yeah. There's a big plastic
had
bag
to-
limit. The movement's gonna hit you guys at some point. I know for sure. Like
We don't have plastic bags here anymore.
yeah,
so.
no, it's
Yeah,
happening.
you have to pay for the plastic
Yeah.
bags.
But honestly,
we walked to and from Walmart with for ice cream and 2 spoons.
yeah. Did you buy a bag though?
No.
Okay. Yeah, I wouldn't have either.
That was probably one of the biggest culture shocks that I probably didn't speak about was, first arriving in Texas, everyone used plastic bags. It was like, rewinding, 10 years back home.
Yeah.
I remember one time I was just putting my stuff down at Signs. They're just like putting it in the bag for me. He's like, no, come on, man, you've got to use a bag. You're buying too much. I'm like, no, I'll just carry it on. No, you got to use a bag. So that was one thing I
They're
never
trying to
spoke about.
sell you their bag.
I think it was still free in Texas, so I was all good.
Yeah.
I remember when they made the switch over here. At first it hit me hard, and then I was like, I don't really care that much, but
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, do you have the problem where you have so many bags in the car you can't put any groceries in the car?
My problem is the receipts. Usually, the receipts
Oh,
here are
receipts.
Oh, no.
freaking huge.
Over here where we still
Oh.
have plastic
Oh
bags,
my
they just
gosh,
go right
yeah,
in the
this is
recycling
true.
bin.
Recycling bin, those don't exist in Texas.
well, maybe on that note,
Speaking of not existing in
Yeah.
Texas, make sure to subscribe.
if you guys would like, you guys can each kind of talk about what's going on with your channels or whatnot, what you've got coming up. Starting with maybe our guest Zenger, if you have anything you'd like to share.
No.
I'm just making a lot of Cakecore SMP and Flatlands SMP videos.
There you go.
Single player,
Awesome.
backlogging quite a bit.
Now, Spods, I know that you recently did a relaunch of your channel.
I what?
You recently did a relaunch of your channel. I noticed. What can we expect now?
Wait, did he?
Wow. Okay. Oh, okay. Relaunch.
Yeah.
Basically, I'm trying to focus on bigger projects that might mean more to me. Although if I do get invited to UHCs, I'll still upload them. But that's basically, I just want to get more music out there. And also a few Minecraft projects that I've had on the burner for years now that I'm still not comfortable making the first move with. Or
Like how
either
to spawn
projects-
Herobrine.
Either projects that I have made the first move with and not a second.
Beetlejuice.
But eventually, right? But yeah, covers definitely, they're going to be coming out
Now,
at a more accelerated pace than once every 4 months.
ooh, okay. Now, hang on a second. That's quite a big promise. Are you sure? Keep up with that? Speaking of keeping up with it, Caleb, how you doing on your end?
What?
Oh, okay, cool. So, James, what do you got going on with your channel?
Wait, no. What did you say? It cut out.
James has got 5 videos a day for now until 2022.
Usual James stuff. Okay, cool. I think that's gonna do it then. Unless anyone else has anything else they're dying to share with the rest of the world. I'm looking at you, Spods.
No.
Oh, dang! I looked at the wrong person.
No.
What do you think? What would I be dying to share with the world?
What would you be dying to share with the entire world? They're all watching right now. Hi, Mom.
This is your one moment.
All of the world.
All of the world collectively together in the same spot. It's really cramped.
All
I
11
know, I feel
viewers
like you
of
want
this
to tell them
podcast.
something.
No, I'm good. Thanks for
We need
watching,
to buy some boxes.
guys. Though, thanks for
That was a joke.
watching the marathon and stuff and donating. Obviously, even though it happened a while ago, it's still obviously very much appreciated. And if you'd like to check out the marathon, you can check out the full streams on Cakecore, but also VODs are being uploaded on the VOD channel, and there's a link to that in the description. So it might be kind of fun to just relive some of those in smaller segments and whatnot. So if that's what you're interested in, you can check that out. And I think on that note, thank you all for joining me today, and thank you all for watching this podcast. And we will see you guys in the next podcast or next whatever Cakecore ends up producing. So thanks for watching. And we'll see you guys next time.
Yay. Bye.
Bye.
See ya.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Danny, Dancer, and Bombastic suck.